Hello and welcome to our first Flipped Collaborate for EDU 10004. This Collaborate is to support students as they prepare for Assignment 1. So I thought I'd just walk you through some of the steps that you're going to do in order to begin this assignment. So this is my dashboard here, and I just thought I'd walk you through this so it'd look a little bit like this, and we're going to head straight into our unit Theories of Teaching and Learning. So you'll be familiar with this already. Down the left-hand pane here are all of our links, and we're going to head straight into our assignments. Okay, so we have 3 assignments for our unit. We have Assignment 1, a presentation, Story of Learning. Assignment 2 is an essay on learning modes, and Assignment 3 is a case study. So let's have a look at Assignment 1 together. We'll just click here. Okay, for this teaching period, I'll just scroll up to the top. For this teaching period, our first presentation will be, our first assignment will be preparing a presentation for a story of learning. Our word limit is 500 words, and there's a little point there showing you that it's within 10%. So that means that your word limit needs to be within 10% above and below of 500 words, and our weighting is a nice gentle weighting of 20% to get us started. We've got some time. Our due date is not until Monday of week 4. You can see here there's a link to your Assignment 1 Q&A, and that takes you straight to your learning group and your ELA. If you've got any questions, that's a great place to go. So let's talk through the assignment quickly together. I'm going to go to our assignment overview. We'll go through this one now. So the purpose of our assignment is to reflect on who you are as a learner and think about how your life experiences and the people in your life have supported or not supported the teaching and learning process. This is how theories of learning developed when theorists wondered about complex ways that learning takes place. So we're going to see if you can understand a little bit of the unit content and how it relates to you. This assignment requires you to create a presentation that tells a story. So you'll create a presentation, you will not be doing a presentation, if that makes sense. You'll just be making one with the images and the words and submitting that as your presentation. We want you to tell a story about your learning, and we want it to make some of the learning processes visible you've experienced. You can write and present this story in interesting and creative ways by using photographs, graphics, or images, such as one might use when creating a picture book. This is not a story written for children, but of course it could be about how a child or children learn. More about this as we go on. This presentation can use a story that is either real or imagined. So you can think about your own experiences, the experiences of others. It can be real or fabricated. So this is not a report and this is not an essay. This is quite distinct. I'll give you some examples so you can feel confident on how it might look. So your story could reflect your experiences, formal or informal, the learning experience of someone you know. You could completely make it up as long as it meets the assignment criteria. It means that you have many options. So some people will be quite happy to have a little bit more flexibility in the structure. If you would like to have a little bit more prescriptive, then you can follow some of the ideas in our exemplars. And you can write the assignment from the perspective of the learner, teacher, both, from a third party like a narrator or an imagined character. So these are your views and not the views of others. However, you are making links to the learning materials. A key part of this assignment is that the processes of learning are made visible and you identify how complex these processes are. So that's going to be key. Make sure we meet this point here. Okay, so be sure to articulate clearly who and what informs your views. So these will be the people around you, current and former teachers, the people you know, people in your family, the literature. So we've already started getting into our learning materials, and your life experiences in formal and informal education settings. Okay, And let's look at the assignment details together. Okay, so it's an individual assignment and you'll submit one document. So you'll either submit it as a Word document or a PowerPoint. We'd like you to save it as a PDF just so it's not too large, so it can be under 5 meg. Okay, so the presentation you'll submit. So here's point 1. So you're going to create your presentation. You will not be presenting it. You will be submitting it. So we'd like you to include a visual metaphor. So we've already discussed this and covered this in our week 1 discussions. So you can make use of those and consider what does your, it says drawing here. Please note it doesn't have to be a hand drawn picture. It can be any sort of an image. So I'm just going to say, what does your image say about your beliefs, about the learning process? Where do your ideas come from? And have your ideas changed since you created your visual metaphor? And if so, why? Point 3, we want you to develop a story that depicts your understanding and experience of learning and what is meant by learning theories. You do not need to use a particular learning theory, although you can if you choose, but rather show an understanding of what they are and their purpose in learning, and therefore how they link to the practice of teaching. This will make more sense when we look at the exemplars. Point 4, make sure your story highlights the links between learning and experience and also explains and illustrates how learning is a complex process. Make sure you've got that sort of language in there. Point 5, illustrate your story with professional images or graphic features as you'll be assessed for how effectively these align with what your story is trying to communicate. And we'd like you to reference following the APA guidelines. Point 6, you can write in the first person when speaking about your ideas, your values and your experiences, and we need you to include a reference list, and we'd like a minimum of 6 references. So that's in addition to your illustrations, and remember that that may include our unit readings there. Okay, so you're going to follow the essential readings from weeks 1 to 4, and in particular chapter 3 of our main text. Okay, then scrolling down here, our assignment details overview. So there's our Turnitin, so we can submit and make sure that your work is original. And let's have a look at our assignment criteria. So we have 4 assignment criteria. We have a team of ELAs, and all of them will be working and assessing your work reflective of these descriptors in our rubric. So this is your this is really your reference to everything that you do. I really recommend that you print it out and pop it next to you as you work on all of your assignments, because this is where all your grading comes from. So let's look at these. So we've got presentation skills, effective presentation skills that clearly articulate your ideas through a story about learning. So let's have a look at the descriptors here. So here we go. So let's look at the past descriptor. It says acceptable standard of presentation with communication of ideas about learning, effective use of photographs, graphics, or images to illustrate the story. So if you can meet this description, then you'll get a pass grade. And then we move up with complexity through credit, distinction, and high distinction. Our second criteria, personal learning, capacity to identify and express personal experiences of learning and how this relates to the practice of teaching. Again, looking at the past criteria, the story and presentation clearly expresses understandings of learning, and some links are made to teaching practice. So that will give you a pass, and then we can move through. We've got examples of teaching, we've got offering insights, personal experience, and you can see the visual metaphors in here. You can also see the visual metaphor is popped in here. So this is our credit descriptor of our second criteria, and I've given you some examples and also your week 1 discussion included your own personal metaphor for learning. Criteria 3, complexities of learning, recognition and description of the complexities of learning and theories. So we've got some connections described between learning and practice, moving up in complexity here. And our final criteria is academic skills. So English, expression, writing, APA and reference to relevant readings and resources. So for the past, limited reference to relevant readings and resources, APA, writing reference may need improvement. We do acknowledge that citation and referencing is complex and that we do take an educative approach. So if you've given it a really good hot go, we're going to be happy with that, and we understand that that's a skill that develops over time. So follow all the guides that we give you, and you'll meet this criteria here, and then moving up with further precision here in your writing, your academic skills and your referencing. Okay, and down here you'll see if something really goes wrong and you're in need of some help, you can request for an extension here. And this is where we do our submissions. Okay, so I'm just going to head over to our Padlet that I've made for our assignment 1. This is a bit of a one-stop shop, and it should help you with getting started on your assignment and any questions you have. So you'll see that these are organized in columns here. So first of all, we've started with the flipped collaborate. So you're watching the flipped collaborate now, or the recorded session. So what is a flipped collaborate? The idea is, from our teaching model, is that you create an understanding individually and then you join us and we use our precious time together to workshop and brainstorm and ask questions together. Here we've got the supports that we have for you for A1. So you're now watching the flipped collaborate video. We're going to have 2 live brainstorming sessions with our ELA teams, and then we're going to have a chat with an ELA, like a question and answer session just before, 1 week before our due date. Here are some details of our live collaborates. So we have a number of teams, and each session will be presented on a different day. So please just enter the ones and join the sessions that suit you best according to your schedule and your busy life. And these are the links here. So you can click on here and it'll take you straight to the session. You can see that this one hasn't started yet. So all of these links are here. I've also added the Collaborate slides. So these will be in your Collaborate session, just so you can see what's going to be on the agenda. So we've got one for our brainstorm, one for Q&A. Then we've got frequently asked questions. So we've tried to help you out here with some very commonly asked questions: how to cite an image, referencing, queries about the assignment, how to save your Word or PowerPoint as a PDF, the types of images you can use, theorists, how many references you need, what's included in the word count. You can see there's so many different elements there. Have a pop through there because chances are your question will be answered here. We've also got some exemplars for you. So I'll just quickly talk through this. So this is one exemplar, and we've got our cover page. You can have a look through this. We've got our images, our graphics, our story of learning. The students put the goals and determination. You can see down here there's the visual metaphor that this student has used. We'll just have a look at the other exemplar we've got here. There's 2 different exemplars. Make sure you don't copy these. These are just to give you a little bit of confidence to see what one might look like as you start out. Okay, and then down here you can see there's a little bit of a visual metaphor that this student has identified. And then it goes all the way through and showing what a reference section looks like. So we've got lots of information here, resources to help you on the portal, how to reference and cite again, how to use the Swinburne Library, APA referencing. So there's a lot of things in there that can be helpful to you. And also, if you've come against any specific difficulties, all the links are in there. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any queries at all, contact your ELA. Thank you.